Hey, welcome everyone. I'm here with founders of Accountable and Noon, Wojtek and Arpan. And my name is Gigi. I'm your moderator for today. I'm the CMO of Accountable. We're celebrating a super exciting week as the Noon platform is going live in beta. And with that, also Accountable's first integration with a stablecoin is actually live. Today, we'll dive into the uniqueness of this partnership. But before we do that, I would love to ask Arpan and Wojtek for a short introduction about themselves and also a little bit of their backgrounds, whatever they would love to share with us. Maybe Arpan, you can start with us introducing yourself.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for that, Gigi, and thanks for starting with me. I really appreciate it. A little bit of background on myself. Started off as I think a lot of people my age in crypto did in sort of the TradFi world at McKinsey, Goldman, sort of some of the bigger names of consulting in the banking space. Founded a challenger bank in the UK and really got tired of regulators. So quickly moved over to crypto, scaled up one of the largest prop shops in crypto, and then really wanted to sort of do something that users used. And that was kind of the genesis of how we started Noon, which is, we think, the most intelligent, but to us, most importantly, the fairest and most user-centric yield-bearing stablecoin out there. Hopefully that's enough. Wojtek?
Yeah, so my background, it's a bit more crypto native to say the least. I studied quantitative finance, really wanted to work in crypto professionally, started as a retail moron in 2017 and was riding the ICO wave, realized that I need to become a bit more sophisticated. So joined Maven 11 venture fund from Amsterdam in 2020, was one of their earliest employees, was supposed to be on the trading side, but then we made an investment in Maple Finance lending infrastructure. And I started running the credit business of Maven, M11 Credit. And this is actually how we met with Arpan when we were running our credit pools there. Arpan was one of the borrowers. And this is basically when the story started. Accountable was built after all of the blow-ups in the space in 2022. We didn't really want to continue with the current system. We really thought that there is a need for more transparency, at the same time protecting users' privacy. And that was the trigger to rebuild the crypto industry on that front. So that's a shorter version of the whole story.
Yeah, sounds good. I think you both really experienced firsthand the sort of challenges and frustrations in the credit industry, right? And then now you sort of reconnected through wanting to make it more transparent and fair. Maybe we can dive into how obviously Noon is really focused on fairness and having user benefits, and transparency as one of the core pillars. But maybe we can explain to our audience how does Accountable is doing that for Noon, and why you chose Accountable to do that for Noon.
Yeah, of course. I think that the stablecoin space obviously is exploded in the last year or so, with just so many new entrants, and especially for sort of the higher yield bearing stablecoins like Noon. It's been really, really hard for users to just really get under the hood of exactly what the stable coins are doing. If you want to sort of figure it out for yourself, right? What do I mean by that? I mean that most of the higher yield bearing stable coins like the Athenas of the world are self-reporting their numbers. So it's hard for a user to say, okay, I trust these numbers because of X, Y, and Z. And frankly, there's a lot of, especially retail users, who are still suffering from a little bit of PTSD from, the old right? Where they're like, hey, algorithmic stablecoin, like thumbs down. So what we really want to do is, we knew that we had a stablecoin that is going to be one of the highest yielding in the world as it is today. And we knew that people were going to have questions. So in order to answer people's questions, instead of just believing in us, we knew we needed a trusted third party to get not our information and just present it in like pretty ways, but actually get information from the source, right? Where's our collateral? How can we display this on a real-time basis? And that's why we started talking to Wojtek and Accountable to actually build that out. for us, and frankly, to try to take the industry to a new, more transparent standard.
Yeah, so maybe to add to that, that there are options to already like create some sort of attestations. They are lagging and they sometimes happen on a monthly basis, by yearly basis. With the product that Archon is building, you want to know what's happening right now, that Noon is operating as intended, that the stablecoin is backed by real positions, by real performance. So this is the new industry standard that we are building, but also most importantly, we are protecting the full privacy and secret sauce of party like Noon. They don't need to share any API keys, any wallet addresses. We basically give them means to prove it themselves. And that's very different from the current solutions where you don't need somebody checking a Binance account of Noon and saying, yeah, we have the money. They have the money. It's all good, right? Like that's not scalable effectively. So it's a great example how Noon can also distinguish themselves, as Archon said. They want to be the most fair stable coin and really be putting community at the core front. At the same time, they need to be able to express it. And then when you have one protocol, let's say the yield is 20%, and they are self-reporting that everything is okay, we are running the trades and the performance is great. And then you have another one where the yield is, let's say, 18%, right? But they can prove it. Then if somebody has 100 million in their pocket, I'm talking specifically for these larger accounts or institutions, where would you put your money? I think the answer is simple. It's not only about the yield, it's risk reward and other stuff related to it. So that's what we are changing. And on top of that, Noon is the highest yielding stablecoin. So I think the answer is pretty simple, right?
Yeah, I think obviously when I say it's clear, I'm slightly biased, but I think having live verified counterparty data is so important in this industry, and realizing it's now possible with ZK. Even when I got introduced to that a few years ago, it wasn't possible, and seeing that now implemented into a stablecoin, maybe I will survive my my PTSD based off of this. So Wojciech, I know that this is potentially one of the use cases of the technology stack of Accountable. Could you elaborate how there are multiple use cases, and also how Noon is then bringing value to Accountable's offering to the end user?
Good question. So whenever there is an off-chain component effectively, because on-chain it's pretty trivial to prove, right? Like if you have Lido, they don't really need my help to prove that they have the ETH backing their staked version. But whenever there is an off-chain component and a trust assumption, so if you think about RWA protocols, you think about yield-bearing stablecoins, regular stablecoins, is Ondo really buying the treasuries that we all hope they do, right? That's a question that people can ask. Probably they are, and of course we trust it, and there are probably other trust layers that people can look at. But if in real time somebody can see, I deposited 1K and they are doing what they are supposed to do, that's the beauty of the solution that we have. And on top of that, our little baby, something that wasn't really solved till today, it's under collateralized credit market effectively. Like, sorry to say, but solutions like Aave, while they are great, they are not solving the fundamental problem. This is not true credit creation. Like if I give you 150 back and you give me back 100, there is no more money involved in the system, right? So we really want to change that. And that was actually the core idea for Accountable to allow for it. So we are working on all of these multiple angles and create a new layer of verifiable yield opportunities, as we call it. I know, Gigi, that maybe you disagree with the bold statement, but that's how we call it right now. And we want to not only be the verification layer for those counterparties, but also to bring them liquidity, where people via Accountable will be able to get exposure to all of those opportunities on top, such that we are a neutral layer of trust, plus liquidity that can be absorbed by these parties that are utilizing our tech and can benefit from it. And of course, there are many other use cases if you think about it. Like we, for example, talk with Chainlink about it. Like if you can put some exotic collateral to Morpho, They can use a system like ours to live code into the token what is the value of this exotic collateral, and then this unlocks so much more value than a piece of paper even written by an auditor. And don't get me wrong, that's still needed, but something that it's live, that you can trust, and that can enable interoperability in DeFi as a whole.
Yeah.
I will say, I think it's really interesting what you guys are doing at Accountable. I think that you guys hopefully will create an entire new market of on-chain, uncollateralized lending. I think Aave is trying to do something very different, right? Aave is basically trying to say, hey, you guys have a bunch of volatile assets. How do you actually use them in more ways than just holding the volatile asset and hoping it goes up? So I think that's a different use case, but I think this is a unique use case that crypto just hasn't seen yet, since all the blowups in 2022 caused all of the unsecured credit, as Wojtek, both of us know, to disappear.
Yeah, and maybe just to add the final thing, if people don't realize how the standard of reporting looks like in credit, you get a self-reported piece of paper or a Google spreadsheet. I received a couple of those from Alameda back in the days, with self-reported number. I made 1 million this week, and that's it. Just one little cell claiming that I made 1 million this week. Can you give me another 10 million loan? And that's why everything blew up, because it was based on information that people couldn't verify nor monitor. So again, we are really trying to change it. It will take a bit of time. The macroeconomic situation is, of course, a bit different. So the yields and the yield profile also changed, but I think that's a pretty fair start to at least have this base and foundation of how we can do business, and the money will come with it from the lending side.
Yeah, I think very well said. I feel like it could be the start of a very beautiful ecosystem, right? We're ecosystem partners, and an ecosystem that is trustless is something we might, benefit from all. I really love the fact how you also put the end user in mind in both of your protocols. So let's close it off. Could you individually tell me what are the main 3 core takeaways for the user about Noon and about Accountable? If one, also fine, but maybe 3 is a good indicator, because as any startup founder, we have so many features in our pipeline. Yeah, let's close off with that. Arpan, maybe you start.
Do it.
Yeah, thanks, Gigi. I really didn't see this question on our list of questions you gave me, but I think for the user, right, I think the 3 things that are the most important, especially in the light of this conversation, for people to understand about Noon, right, is that because we're the most intelligent yield-bearing stablecoin, we will have, through the cycle, the highest yield profile. Because we are the most fair yield-bearing stablecoin, we will, over the course of our existence, airdrop more of our governance token and give back more of our value that we generate to our users. And I think third, right, which is only possible through this partnership with Accountable, is that we're the most transparent yield-bearing stablecoin, right? That no other stablecoin that sort of generates yield from CeFi and sort of on-chain, off-chain, CeFi, DeFi, et cetera, is able to have true trust built into it, because there isn't a third party looking at the underlying collateral positions and verifying, hey, the amount of stable coins you are distributing to the market is actually backed by a reserve at least 1-to-1. And our users can rest assured with the Accountable dashboard that we are fully collateralized, we are safe, we are secure, that this yield that you're getting that might look really, really juicy is actually by real world assets and real world revenue.
Can agree with that. And like just for context, again, like we don't even like see basically the data that Noon is presenting. Like they are proving it themselves. You can find all of the proofs in the dashboard. I think it has a pretty clean view to do it. All of the methods of cryptography that were used in order to possess this data and how you can trust it and how you should treat it, it's all explained there. So There will be a bit of educational part here, like, oh, it's not just any other dashboard out here that is fancy looking. It's something that
just to be clear on that though, right? One thing I think is really important for users to understand is that even though sort of the data is coming through our sort of secure enclaves and our sort of services online, we're not manipulating it. It's not our own data that Accountable is presenting, which is, I think, the key difference here, right? Is that Accountable has basically set up an instance in our secure ecosystem so that the data doesn't leave our secure walls until it gets presented to the user. But Accountable is getting this data directly from where we're holding our collateral. So, and they have a verified way to make sure that we can't interfere with or transform that data to mislead our users in any way.
Yeah, that's very correct. Actually, I should be the one saying it, but yes. So direct data retrieval from the venues, you cannot manipulate it. At the same time, no one gets the privacy that we cannot basically get those API keys, see what's happening there. So the beauty of two words, but it was supposed to be 3 words about our products, and it came out the longer technical discussion. So I would say, like, our core values, it's transparency, verifiability, and also fairness in general. We want to bring people like fair access to accurate data, something that they can trust. In the era of AI and everything that is happening, you need to be sure, especially with stuff like financial data, medical data, that what you're looking at, you can trust. And this is the new term that we are introducing to crypto. And we are very, very glad to have known as our first official partner and scale our protocols together. Be different than the rest of the pack that maybe they don't even know that this is possible. So this video is also for all of you guys to understand that the new wave is coming.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really thrilled. Also, speaking of myself, for some time I just neglected all these youth opportunities because of all the fraud I've experienced. So maybe I'll step into that a little later. Thank you both so much for explaining it. At least for me, it's very clear. But dear community, please let us know in the comments if you have any questions or if you want to take a deep dive on certain elements. We're happy to reply and maybe pick it up later in a live session. Or final sort of call to action. This week, obviously, like I said in the beginning, news platform is publicly live, so make sure to try it out. And at Accountable, we're building our yield app, so we'd also love you to sign up for a wait list. So we'll keep you in the loop for whenever you can explore all those yield opportunities, including ones at noon, obviously. Thank you so much, and until the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.